Alright, hi everyone. This is me doing a video tutorial on the handout that we got from last week. So it's this one here. You can find this on Moodle in the lab section, Animating in Maya. So it consists of 3 pages. That's the first page. Then we're gonna go and have a look at the viewport, as well as Maya's animation tools. From here we'll animate our first bouncing ball, and I'll do a walkthrough of that, and finally some settings that you need to take care of before you play blast. So let's go to the first one here, which is before you animate. So before we animate, we need to set some preferences inside Maya. Now inside your Maya, let's go here. You'll see that first things first, we need to go to Windows, Setting, Preferences, Windows, Settings, Preferences, and it's very important that we do that because we want to make sure that the settings are correct even before we start to animate. Now let's see what's here. So let's go to the animation section under the list of categories. So here's your categories. Let's go down to animation. Cool. Make sure that auto key is on. Key modify attributes is set as key all attributes. Make sure weighted tangents is checked, and the default in and default out tangent is set to linear. Alright, and that's basically covered here. 1, 2, 4. This is what you need to do. There are times whereby you would use clamp or step, but for our purpose, for the bouncing ball, linear is pretty good. If you know what you're doing in future animation, say like if you're doing blocking for character animation, you might want to put things as clamp or step. That's okay, we'll just stick to these settings for now. Now next we're going to click the time slider under the list of categories. So under the list of categories, let's find the time slider. It's right down here. It's this one here called time slider. What we need to do is we need to change the key tick size, and that's going to determine the red tick that sits on our timeline as we set keys later on. So I'm gonna give it a value of 2 and hit enter. 2 is good. And the other setting that you need to check is the playback speed. The playback speed should be real time 24 frames per second. Why? Because whenever we click play here later on, when we have an animation, when we click play, we want it to be played at real time 24 frames per second, which is the frame rate in which we animating. Once you do that, it's very important to click save. Please click save, do not click the X button, do not click the cancel button, click save. So I'm gonna do that now. Now the settings are saved, and you have a pretty good the settings are pretty good for our purpose. Cool. Now the next thing you need to do is we're gonna set up our viewport. Okay, now I'm gonna press spacebar, and that gives me all 4 views. For our bouncing ball, we are just going to use the side view. We're not going to use the perspective view at all. So we're not going to kind of do this and you know, move the ball in perspective. You're gonna confuse yourself that way. So press spacebar while your cursor is on the side X viewport. I'm going to enlarge this. So this is what we're going to use to animate. This is the viewport we're going to use. Let's select the camera. So I'm going to go to view, select camera. I see that the side camera is selected, and it shows here in my channel box. Let me just open up the outliner. So we go to Windows Outliner, and you'll see that the side camera is selected. Okay, what we need to open now is the attributes, and you can go back to view and go to camera attribute editor. So I'm going to press that now, and it's going to change. Let me just close the outliner. It's going to change to attribute editor here. Right, so let's scroll down. We're going to find the settings that says display options. Right, so what do we do with display options here? So under display options, there's two things you need to do. First is check the display resolution. So that's display resolution, make sure that's checked. What happens is it's going to show us the boundaries of what we're animating. So our Play Blast settings, the aspect ratio is set as 960 times 540. So with that check, we see the boundaries, but what's not right now is the boundaries are very close to our frame borders, and it's hard to tell where the frame ends and where it begins. And for that, we can use the overscan settings to change the zoom in and zoom out of things. So I'm going to give it a value, say like 1.2, and now we're zooming out a bit and we can see clearly where the boundaries are, and it's much easier to animate this way. And if you go to channel box, yeah, it's not bad. I can still see the boundaries, and that's pretty good for my purposes. And therefore this value actually sets how much zoom in zoom out you're getting. Let's give it a try. 1.3, that's not too bad as well. So it's up to you. You can go 1.2, 1.3, doesn't really matter. It depends, everything depends on your monitor and what resolution you're using at the moment. Alright, so that's basically it for the first part of our walkthrough. The first page, before you animate, you need to set all these settings, and I'm going to end the video now and look at the second one here, which is a walkthrough of animating a bouncing ball using Maya's animation tools. Thank you.